Happy New Year! The year's almost over. 52 weeks means you wrote me 52 weekly apology forms because I was right every time in 2025. As far as being an influencer goes, it was my number one year by far. Let's review a year in OG Contraband. Well, first we have to talk about the British Empire and the war in Gaza. The way this went down, I started investigating the truth behind many of the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, and I came to a shocking, different conclusion. Literally, all the most famous ones was actually something Britain was doing. It was probably the most interesting short series of videos ever made. Although I knew a lot of the destination points, I slowly built up the case file against the British Empire. We started way back in World War I, how these wars were really to reestablish the naval domination for the UK. The story peaked when Tucker Carlson investigated 9/11 because I knew his destination would be Israel, so that told me the real destination was the British Empire, and the theory held up. In fact, the result even shocked me. It turned out that George Bush was actually a distant member of the British royal family. And then after showing why, in my opinion, George Bush Sr. was the mastermind behind 9/11, and then I went into JFK and showed JFK was the worst president from Great Britain, and then who did we see standing in the shadows on that day? He was pew-pewed. Some say none other than George Bush Sr. When I first said the British Empire, the funniest comment was, "What year is this?" Because no one ever talked about that in the modern context, only in something long ago history. Fast forward, every major influencer has talked about the British Empire. Jones, Tucker Carlson himself actually commented on my commentary and asked for more conspiracy theories about the British Empire. And there were certain people in the Jewish community who said, "Whoa, look at this. Roseanne definitely understood the assignment." As people started to realize the full history in Israel, there began to be a political pressure on the UK and Keir Starmer. I may or may have not been involved in that political pressure. And after seeing Americans are starting to get pissed at them, they flipped their position on the war in Gaza. It started with Piers Morgan, and once Piers came out, we knew that the British Empire had flipped its position. Probably only took them a few weeks, and Netanyahu was signing the peace deal, which ultimately proved everything I was saying was true. This ended the war, but it widened a schism that was happening between the Zionists and the British Empire, which I thought would be short-lived, but it's actually been getting wider with the Ukraine. The British Empire are basically trying to sabotage the peace negotiation. In summation, every Jew should send me a check. I'm kind of like the Messiah, really revealing the root cause of all this anti-Semitism and showing everybody this hidden history that was right in front of our face. And not only that, all free Palestine people should send me money too for basically ending the war. Next, on the H-1B, I was like the canary in the coal mine. I broke the silence on the H-1B. A lot of programmers, they hadn't consciously recognized why they lost their jobs again and again and being replaced. Maybe they were afraid to admit what was happening due to the stigma. And once I broke the seal and revealed how bad it was, revealing that 20,000 Americans have been unalived by replacement from this, it was like a snowball effect. And then we also started finding out the same kind of BS has been happening with truckers, and we see all the accidents, and they're joined by the programmers calling out these H-1B visas and different visas that, by the way, as I pointed out, were created by the British royal Bush family and helped to carry out 9/11. And the snowball became an avalanche once the King of the Frogs picked up on this issue that at that point several prominent people were talking about it. And then after Kirk's unaliving, we had our victory, the $100,000 fee, when I did my famous speech dissing Donald Trump for his Charlie would have won it speech. And I got to give Trump credit for ending this H-1B visa, but we have to do something about this offshoring because that's going to be even worse. And it shows just how serious this really was. We should have ended it a long time ago, because not only did whole companies get overthrown by a foreign country, now they're just blatantly sending the whole company to India. And if you think these Somali day camps are bad, if Kamala would have won, they would have been sending the whole treasury to India. And the same goes for Vivek. So if you are a programmer, you should consider sending me a check. Every programmer kind of owes me. Or at least stream OG Contraband songs all day, every day. Now, after everybody was still crying about Israel when the war's over, hello, I revealed the shocking case of espionage, treason, and moving these data centers to India that literally no other influencer picked up on. I mean, we know the Democrats are paid not to say anything by those actual companies moving to India. And it just kept getting worse every day. First it was the stolen documents, the classified documents. Next it was $85 billion. And then lastly was the secrets to nuclear fusion. They're just going to give that to India, Russia. So Trump failed on this issue big time. In fact, he even sends some of his company to India. And speaking of Ramaswamy, I showed the shocking way that those British royals, Rothschilds, all of them, MI6, funnel money into this system that has Peter Thiel and Ramaswamy at the bottom of this pyramid. But my biggest and final victory of the year came just days ago when Bernie Sanders decided to back my policy on the virtual employee income tax, or the VEET, where AI will be taxed as if it's an employee, and the same amount a human would make will be sent to the government for UBI into a special fund that can't be used for anything else. What a great end of the year when I saved every American from being unalived by AI. So if you are a human living in America, you owe it to me to send me money, or at least stream OG Contraband songs all day, every day. Happy New Year, and you don't even want to know what's planned for next year.